Hey guys, welcome to another webinar of OpenLM. I'm Sagi. I will be your host for this webinar. Today we will go over the end user. Usually he is a bit overlooked, but the end user can also get some benefits from OpenLM. Basically, OpenLM can help you empower him. Now, if you have any questions during the webinar, then please feel free to just go ahead and ask. Use the GoToWebinar questions box. Just ask. Once I finish my sentence, I'll look over and see if you have any question to answer. So, the end user, who's that guy? What's his role in the company? What is he using? The end user is basically the guy next to the workstation, the engineer himself, who simply wants to work. He simply wants ArcGIS or Autodesk or MATLAB or SolidWorks or whatever. He just needs to work. So his role in the company is usually just pretty low. He doesn't have control over his licenses. He doesn't really have control over it. It's limited. He's the one that actually uses the engineering software, so he's the one that really cares about what's going on with the license. He feels it deeply because he gets stressful if he's not able to get a license, he's not able to complete the project, meaning that he will not meet deadlines. So he has the stress on one side to get a license, so he won't fall behind. And lastly, his influence on the company is well, minimal, because the end user, well, there are a lot of end users for Autodesk. They can call the license admin up and ask, hey, is there a license available? But they cannot buy more licenses. They don't have any stakes in it. They just use the application given to them. So we'll take the full flow, the full process. We'll take a look at the full process of users from their starting point and up to the features that OpenLM can provide for them. So how are the users coming into OpenLM? We have a few ways to do that. First of all, of course, just manual input, add the users, add the groups yourselves. Using a CSV file, if you don't want to have it manual, just add a CSV file, but most users use Active Directory to get all the users' details, or options files to get all the users. But by default, the license output is what gives OpenLM all the users, all the usernames. So it gets from the license output and checks if the Active Directory has some information for it, or the CSV, of course. Now, you can take those users and you can actually group them, and you can get their details from the Active Directory. So, of course, you can group them just as a flat file, as a flat group. Say all of you guys under this node are group A. Or you can just follow the hierarchy of your Active Directory. So each node, each organizational unit will be stored in OpenLM as a group, and you will have that hierarchy in there. Or of course, you can do it by the attribute, get all the users that are in sales and have them in group sales, and marketing in group marketing, and so on. Now that's pretty basic how to connect. Just connect the Active Directory to OpenLM server, but soon it will change. In version 5, we will have a more complex installation of the Active Directory, but it will give you more information. So once you have all the users groups, you can of course view the usage, but and we're coming into the point where the end users are actually empowered. You can give those end users different permissions in OpenLM system. So they'll be able to access and see only what they need to see. they won't be able to see anything outside what the admin defined for them. So if they want to see what's going on with licenses, for example, the admin can set up a role so they would be able to see how many licenses are available and what's going on. Also, if the users would like to know what's going on, then the admin can provide a few ways for them to see that. Either using the interface, and you just set up different roles for different users to view on the interface. Or they can just install something called the OpenLM Agent, and they get this interface. They actually get an interface installed on their system. They don't have to access OpenLM's server. They'll get it on their system. They'll be able to know how many licenses there are, how many are free, and if anything is taken, they'll be able to know who is actually using it. Now, let's say that a license is not available. I have 10 out of 10. I try to call everybody I can, and no one is releasing the license. Then what can I do? I can just try and get the license again and again and again. Or, as an end user, I can just wait for the agent to send me a license availability notification, meaning the agent will tell me, hey, buddy, now the license that you wanted, that you got denied from, well, now it's free. Go get it. So that's another cool thing that can really help the end users. But let's jump to a live system and just take a look at it. So right here, I have a component called the OpenLM Agent. Now, the OpenLM Agent itself can be rolled out, meaning that you don't have to go workstation by workstation if you have thousands of them. You can just roll it out using a silent script, silent rollout. You can use SCCM, you can use GPO for the users to already have it on their machine and they won't even know. So what will they have? What are the options for them to access the interface? So first thing that you can do, they can set up a connection to this interface. So all you need to do is simply connect to the server holding OpenLM server. So the host holding my OpenLM server is demo v4 in this case. And we connect using port 7019 to EasyAdmin, and that's it. And we get this interface. Now you can use single sign-on, because if you remember, we got details from the Active Directory. So we also got username and password. So you can set up single sign-on for OpenLM. So they can sign on with their own credentials and their users will already be in a role. So let me show you how we do that. We go to Start, Administration, and now what we would like to do is set up a new role, or we can go to System and Security right here. Under Security, we see that we can set up a login password. Once we set up a login password for the admin, we can also have a trusted authentication sign-in, meaning SSO. So once the users access using SSO, they're accessing this interface, using this link, using their own credentials, and clicking on roles here, you can see different roles. Now one is a general user role. Now you can add any different role that you'd like and configure it and create it. Well, let's take a look at what this is. This is basically a user role, a basic user role. And what you can do, you can add users to it. So let's say that I want Yasmin and Willie and Laura to be a part of this role. So every time they open up the interface, what they'll see is what I allow them to see. So you can add a group, you can add a user, whatever you choose. So under resources, we can better understand what is it we're allowing or denying from view. So for example, show license usage report, show logout, show policy, so show project usage. You can decide what your users will show. So you got a group of admins, they can see everything. You got a group of end users, they'll only be able to see their own specific server. So let's say I'm an end user, and I'm in a group of, let's say, end users. I use Autodesk or something. Now I want license. So what do I need to do? I can either access this interface, and my admin defined that all I can see is the license server screen, or just I see the only thing I can see is the features, and I can only view the license server I'm using, and I can only view the amount used and the current total, which is, as an end user, something that I care about. I care about what's going on with my license. If I don't have a license, I'm going to call up my admin, my license admin. And you would like to prevent that. So you can give them the power to kind of get the license that they need on their own. Let's jump to the workstation again. Now, keep in mind, this is I'm treating this now as a workstation. It's just a PC, an end user PC that has the OpenLM agent installed. Now he will have this license usage information, and it holds basically all the features, how many are used, and how many we have, and how many are free. Now let's say that, oh, I need this, and 4 out of 4. So I don't have any licenses available, but let's click on it. Oh, and I see that Stacy is using it, Tyson is using it, Toby is using it. So they've been using for quite a while. I can try and call them up if I know them and say, hey, Toby, can you please put the license back if you're not using it? I really need it. Now, if you allow for them to see each other's details, you can prevent it, of course. But if you allow for it, once they click on the name, they'll be able to see their details. Now, here you don't see any details because there's nobody called Toby or Tom or Tyson in OpenLM. It's just emulated data. It's not really connected to Active Directory. But if you do have it connected, you'll see all the details as well. Now, I'm an end user. I can see other end users' details and simply call them up or send them an email. Now, if you as an admin you don't want them to be able to see each other's details, then you can just prevent it in the role. You put them in a certain role which doesn't allow them to see personal information. And that's basically it for this interface. Now keep in mind that clicking here, you can decide what they see in this interface and what they don't. If you don't want them to be able to configure or exit, you can define that so they won't be able to see it and only be able to open up the license usage information. Okay, so once I try and get a license but get denied, so there are two things that I can do. I can either try and get a license again, and again. I can try, of course, and call my admin and say, hey, I don't have a license, I need a license, and just ask that way. Or if I'm not in that hurry and I do have other things to do, what I can do, I can just wait for OpenLM to notify me that the license I'm using has now been released. So what I'm going to do now, we're just going to try and open AutoCAD on this server. and I only have one license. So if I try to get another license right here, I should get denied because I only have one license for testing. So I got denied right here. Now, in a few minutes, we'll close this to simulate a user closing the application, and we'll check the other workstation, and we'll see a message pop up saying that, hey, remember the workstation, remember the license that you wanted to use? No, so now it's free. Try to use your workstation to get it. So let's just hit X here, and it takes a while. It takes like 5 minutes because there's a grace period. Grace period, for anybody who doesn't know, it's a FlexLM like time that passes between when a user retrieves the license back into the pool and that the system says, okay, the license is indeed retrieved. Why is that? Let's say someone loses power, so his system goes down and goes back up. So this is a way for FlexLM to be able to kind of keep the license for, give it a grace for like 5 minutes until it says, okay, that license is done. So it will take us a while until we see that message pop up, about 5 minutes, but we'll just leave it to run as of now. Meanwhile, we'll check if we have it configured. So we'll go to Start, Administration, and now we'll go to Agent Policy and check if we have available license notification. The reservation period, well, let's say 60. It's about 5 minutes, but here it's like 60 for testing purposes. But we are going to see it in about 5 minutes. So you already have it. You're probably thinking, oh, okay, so what do I need to buy? Which extensions do I need? Nothing. Okay, so you see that it popped up a message notifying me that, hey, this license you're looking for has been released for use. Now you're asking yourself, why did it pop up on this screen? Why didn't it pop up on the other screen, on demo v4? Because it follows me. It doesn't follow the PC, it follows me. It checks, oh, where is Sagi now? Sagi is on demo v4? No. Is he on Win10 demo? No. He is on his machine. Okay, so pop it up there because I saw him last there. So you see, it tells me, okay, you can go and get AutoCAD right now. So closing that, I can go back to my workstation right here, my system, my demo system, and get AutoCAD again. Now I'm sure that I have a license. Unless someone from QA is using it. Yeah, and that's basically it. That's the whole OpenLM user functionality, end user functionality in a nutshell. Basically, we can give them the option to see which licenses are currently available, how many licenses there are, which features are available, and so on. And that's pretty much it. I think we've gone over enough for today. I really don't want to overload you with all the information and all the extensions the OpenLM agent offers because it's numerous. It can find out if the application is actually idling. It can close the application. It can kill the process. It can save the application. There are many things it can do, but really this is for another webinar called license harvesting, where we talk about that. Here we just want to give all the benefits to the end user, and closing a session is not really a benefit to the end user, more to the admin himself. So to the end user, you get a screen, tells him what he has currently. He can get a notification saying what's going on with the licenses that he needs, meaning if he got denied, so he can get a notification. And Of course, they also have access to the OpenLM interface depending on which role you decide that they'll be in. And that's pretty much it. So now if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them. So go ahead, use the GoToWebinar questions box. I'll be here for like 10 minutes more. Be happy to answer any question. So shoot, go ahead. Yes, so John is asking about pricing. Well, what you've seen until now, it's free. Simply go to the OpenLM website, go to Downloads, Client Area, and scrolling down, you have the OpenLM Agent. Simply download it and install it. You can roll it out using SCCM, using Silent Script, GPO, whatever you choose. Or, just double click next on the workstation and that's it. The only thing you'll need to do is have it connected with OpenLM server. All the agents on all the workstations all send information to a single OpenLM server. So yeah, you can just go now, download it, and you'll have it. Regarding the notifications, so start, administration, agent policy, and you got availability notification.